I would like to thank our partners that extended their support to this event. Associate partners MENA Clean Energy Business Council, CETA EV Charger, who is also the panel sponsor on day one. Supporting associations: the European Association for Electromobility, Electric Drive Transportation Association, Electric Vehicle Association of Thailand. And the supporting partners: Qatar Solar Energy, Fin Value, Electroheads, the Brattle Group, Rare Group, A Great E Incorporated, and our media partner, Circuit Digest.
Thank you very much for having me. Obviously, first check is hopefully that you can hear me okay, and we'll check I can share the screen as well. I won't speak for too long today. As you'll see, my presentation is full of pretty pictures and moving transport, which you'd hope from Transport for London. So hopefully it will be very interesting to you. And I think it follows on actually from Dennis's talk there, as it continues this theme of electric vehicle charging and what can get delivered. We're coming at this as the world's most integrated transport authority, now involved in many different areas, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But the role that we see that we can have around electric vehicle charging is a very, very significant one, and one that we're then hoping actually to work across the UK and across the world to deliver. So hopefully that's one that we can explore. Let's just make sure the technology works with us. Please just say that you can see my screen okay.
Yeah, we can see that, Alex.
Lovely. Okay. Now, again, I'm sure everyone has said this, but I can't see at the moment any hands up or questions, but I may stop anyway after sort of about halfway, obviously, just to make sure everyone is there and not asleep or gone walking off. But also if there's any very specific questions at the time. So just bear that in mind. But if you do want to stop me, please just say, Alex, hold on, and we can speak. So London has grown and continues to grow. I mean, arguably, it is the world's now only truly cosmopolitan metropolis. It is just an incredibly diverse city now, with all manner of interests for every possible person, and we want to continue to nurture that. We want to continue to keep growing that. These are some of the challenges that London, and of course many other cities in Qatar around the world, will be facing, and these are the things that we've got to get right. And we know that we've got to think more about public transport and about the electrification of transport. Here's the first of the animations, which give you an idea. 2041. So it sounds a long way, but I mean, it's only 20 years. Okay, so we need to be building right now. This is a very important figure. We need to get people onto public transport and to take them then out of the car, especially, of course, the petrol or diesel car. But some of the things that we're doing, and certainly where I work within Transport for London, not just looking at transport, but actually retail as well, at commercial, at looking at electrification, and at homes. So at the moment, we are the most active home builder in London, which is very, very unusual. There's not many transport authorities in the whole world, possibly none, that are also building this many homes. But we believe it is part of this wider city, this wider scope for people having better lives, healthier streets. Again, we do a lot of work with walking and cycling. So it's a much, much broader approach than just running the London Underground or the red buses that you probably know from TfL. So, you know, this gives some idea, but a fully zero emission city. We want to be zero carbon rail by 2030, which is very, very key. I'll mention about buses in a moment as well. And this public transport experience is absolutely fundamental to what we're doing. And then, you know, as we look more broadly across the city, across energy and electrification, there are a number of other areas that we're going to look at. So this slide here will just have a couple of animations running. You'll see about waste heat being captured from the London Underground that can feed into the homes. These are homes where people are living, TfL homes. You'll see solar being put across the estate. Qatar, obviously a fantastic place to put solar panels, and then power the homes, power the charging hubs, power the schools, have all of this wider city where you then have this fully integrated energy and electrified city. So to come on to EV charging, this is something that's a huge problem at the moment in London. The air quality, unfortunately, has got worse over time. We need to address that. We know it comes from road transport primarily, and hence we have to try and deal with that. Now, TfL can't affect everything. We can't change every possible vehicle. You may know that there are government legislation now that says that all petrol and diesel will be out after 2030. But of course, we're going to have petrol and diesel cars in London for some time. So the big question was put to us, and this really comes to the nub of what this conference is about. Should we be building electric vehicle charging infrastructure? So my area of TfL took a look at this, and mostly, of course, you're talking about land and power. I mean, that's really what this comes down to. You've got to make sure the grid's okay. Have you got the experience? Can you do it in a low carbon way? And can you collaborate with all of the other public sector bodies and the SMEs that Dennis mentioned in his talk? But land and power are the most fundamental aspects. So we did a little bit of work with a consultancy, which I would highly recommend that you do as well if you're considering this. We mapped out the demand for charging, and then we looked at the supply of our sites. So TfL has 10,000 sites in London. So we started mapping some of those. We picked 600 and we mapped them across and saw where does the demand meet the supply, economics 101. And then, of course, from there, you start getting a heat map. You start saying, okay, we can see now where we need charging in London. And that gives a feel for where we want to be across London. And as we started narrowing that down and started thinking, okay, we're beginning to focus on certain areas. So this particular heat map area, this is where we need to be. And then, of course, we start thinking, well, what can a hub look like? What is this electric vehicle charging hub that people are talking about across the world? Does it mean different things to different people? What do we mean by this? So we've done a lot of work as to what a hub could be and how it feeds buses, possibly, how it feeds taxis, black taxis, private hire taxis like Uber, Lyft, others like this. How do we get regular people in with their cars experiencing this? So you'll see some of the people here, the man that's coming in to sit down, have a cup of coffee. There's a woman that comes in that wants to get on with her work. Other people might want to go for a sleep. They might want to go and have a workout, a 10-minute session, high impact session in the gym. Can we provide these facilities? Can we offer this to people as part of that experience of an electric vehicle charging hub inside London? And you'll see some of this just playing out here. And we're giving a lot of thought to this experience in a way that we can provide renewable energy, that we can sort out our taxis, which is a key fundamental part of London, of course, the black taxi, how we can potentially co-locate with bus garages. So we're looking at bus electrification as well. So we're very, very keen to try and have all of these aspects dealt with in the appropriate time. And I think there was a question earlier about 350 kilowatt. At the moment, we're starting with kind of 50 kilowatt and then 150. We're not ready for 350 yet, but over time, this wait will get shorter, and these cars, of course, will be able to charge quicker and quicker. But we've done a lot of work on this. We have about 350 chargers, rapid chargers in London at the moment. So rapid is 50 kilowatt and above. And at the moment, people actually are happy to spend that time to get on with their emails, to get away from their children, whatever it is that you want to take a bit of that time. And it's really important as well that we also do this in keeping with other parts of TfL that we're looking at. So this was an incredibly scary number coming up here, 1 billion deliveries into London in the COVID period. Okay, so during lockdown last year, a lot of 2020, obviously we were in lockdown here, 1 billion packages. So that's a lot of fleet on the road that we've got to address. And the other big number that gets talked about a lot at TfL, 9,000, almost 10,000 buses. We said 2037, now we want to do it by 2034. And we've got about 1,000 buses already electric. We've got about 5,000 black taxis that are zero emission capable. Can we keep pushing that harder and harder and electrifying. And just to give you an idea, and I suppose sort of finish on some of these images that we're seeing already, some of the hubs that are being seen around Europe, some of the hubs that are being seen in London, many different styles, different designs. You can tell no one's agreed on the right way, okay? Some with solar rooftops, some with no roof at all. A bit risky in England where it rains a lot more than in Qatar. Different styles. On the left here, you've got BP at the bottom. Obviously, you will know BP. And Instavolt, one of our sort of very aggressive, very fast-selling charge point operators that we have in this country. And from a TfL perspective, how do we move from this single points? That's one of our single points that was delivered with ESB as the charge point operator. And here's a new ESB hub that we just built in southeast London. As you can see, very nice style, Japanese style wooden construction with 8 charging units there. Just to give an idea of numbers, we're looking to put many in. London needs about 2,000 to 4,000 rapid chargers, and of course by putting in hubs, so 6 or more every time, you're going to get to that number much quicker. And just this slide, I know this won't mean a lot to many people if you're not from London, but to give you an idea of London with the Thames River running through the middle there, wherever you see that bright red or the orange, those areas of very high demand. And whenever I'm speaking around the world, I was talking to Minnesota a couple of days ago. Everyone I speak to, Minnesota in America, if that's not clear, everyone I speak to, I say, please do this work, do this homework. TfL can help you, but you need to do this work to understand where is your demand. And for the people that maybe know London a little bit, out to the west here, so the left as you're looking is Heathrow, sort of the world's busiest airport. So obviously a lot of demand going out that way. And you can see in the curve of the river in the middle there's a lot of red, where we have, again, a huge amount of demand around East London, central to East London as well. Again, I can talk to this in more depth if you want to know a bit more, but I appreciate in Qatar, you probably won't know every part of London. And just a kind of last couple of slides really to finish. And again, that'll leave plenty of time for questions as well. We're looking at a number of sites now. In fact, just this week, we're going to decide on our first 3 that are going to go into feasibility. So some of these sites that we own around London, you know, what can we do? How can we turn them into charging hubs? We're very keen to know that. Very keen to keep speaking with other parties and understanding what you're doing and everything else as well. So, you know, very keen to open up those conversations.